Hey, it's me, Ashley. I know it's been a minute since I've done any kind of review. Sorry, my dog is in the way. But I will be going into the Sleeping Beauty Trilogy. I'm actually going to be discussing book number one, which is The Claiming of Sleeping Beauty. It was originally written in 1983 by Anne Rice, although she used the alias A.N. Roclair. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. Um, and the cool thing I liked about this book is that it goes along the story of, if you're familiar with Sleeping Beauty, it's about a princess. She sticks her finger on a thimble, she falls asleep for 1,000 years or 100 years, and a prince comes and finds her, gives her a kiss, and awakens the whole kingdom. And this book starts off that way. This 18-year-old prince leaves his kingdom, makes his long journey, and comes across this Sleeping Beauty that he's heard about since childhood. And of course, the whole kingdom has been asleep for 100 years, and he finds this 15-year-old Sleeping Beauty asleep, but instead of waking her with a kiss, he awakens her by taking her virginity. So right away, right off the bat, this book kind of tests boundaries in that aspect. And of course, by doing that, he awakens the whole kingdom, and he makes an arrangement with the kingdom and Beauty's parents by saying, Beauty's basically coming with me to my kingdom, he's going to whisk her away. And the parents don't argue with it, for one, because they feel indebted, and two, it's kind of been implied that her parents endured the same thing that Beauty is about to endure throughout this book. So there is a short detour where they go through the city, go through the village, and Beauty is on display, quote unquote. She's stripped naked, she's shackled and put on display, and right away it's a humbling experience and very overwhelming. And so she's whisked away to this kingdom where there's other princes and princesses that are quote unquote slaves and playthings. I'll call them sexual tributes. And they're subjected to things like spankings, forced sex with both sexes, both men and women, public humiliation, horseplay, and other BDSM type of things. But the purpose of these princes and princesses being whisked away to this kingdom is not only to learn sexual obedience, but it's a test of resilience, I guess, for them, because they're sent there for a period of time, and it's showing them not only to accept pain, but to find an inner strength for when they're sent back to their own kingdoms and they become kings and queens. It gives them that inner strength to rule a kingdom, that kind of metaphor kind of thing. So that's the purpose of them being sent to this kingdom. And this particular kingdom of the sexual tributes is ruled by the prince's mother, Queen Eleanor, and right away she's very intimidating to Beauty. And right away Eleanor finds a distaste for Beauty because the prince has a love at first sight for Beauty, but it's also an unhealthy infatuation. And in a way, I guess she feels that might be a distraction for Beauty's learning, in a way. So they get to the kingdom, and Beauty is slowly introduced to the way of things. And the first night she's there, she comes across another imprisoned prince by the name of Prince Alexei. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. And right away, it's an instant attraction between them. It's like love at first sight. She is right away infatuated with him, and secretly he's infatuated with her. And right away, her prince that captured her notices that and becomes insanely jealous, and basically instills in her, look, you're here to please whoever needs to be pleased, but I disapprove of you looking at other men, unless the time comes. So right away he's jealous, and I thought it was kind of funny. There's kind of like a love triangle where the prince is infatuated with Beauty, but Beauty, she she shows affection towards him, but it's more of let me please you, not I'm in love with you. She says she's in love with him, but I think she's in love with the idea of I just want to make you happy because I don't want to be punished. But the attraction between Prince Alexei and Beauty is more, I want to say it's more mutual, but you can see why there's an attraction between those two. And so shortly after that night, Beauty begins to learn the way of things. She's still overwhelmed by everything. And one night, she sneaks off with Prince Alexei, and they start a brief torrid love affair. And begins to basically try to explain things better for her. He goes into how things were for him when he first arrived. He was very rebellious, kind of like how he sees in her, and his ordeal of how when he first got there is a lot more graphic than when Beauty got there. And he let's just say he was just subjected to a lot more things. Like, for example, I'm sorry, I'm going over notes that I have written. Let's see. Because, like I said, he was kind of stubborn, and like right away he tries to fight off attempts of letting these things happen to him, and his spirit basically just gets broken. Like, he ultimately tries to run away when he first arrives. So, of course, Queen Eleanor says, I'll teach you, and basically throws him into the kitchen, and he's subjected to being raped and not only spanking, but just a lot. It's just graphic punishment just to break his spirit and just to show, you think what I'm doing to you is bad. You could be subjected to a lot worse than he is. And slowly but surely, he receives humiliation, but in the long run, he understands why he is there, and because his spirit is completely broken, and in a way, he just breaks down and he surrenders, and ultimately he becomes the queen's favorite. And I thought that was also kind of crazy that the queen detests Beauty, but the queen's favorite is in love with Beauty. So there's a lot of love triangles and a lot of that going on. So I thought that was interesting. So they have a brief affair, but as Prince Alexei explains his journey and what he had to go through, Beauty begins to have a better understanding of why she's there, and her curiosity begins to blossom. So in this book, she's still kind of afraid of everything that's going on, but she becomes more intrigued. So, and the book basically ends with her, they don't get caught in an affair, thank God, but the book ends with her learning of this place called the Village. And there isn't many details about what the Village is, except for it's a place where slaves are auctioned off to unknown places. And in the end, Beauty gets sent there because one night she decides to rebel, and she decides to purposely try to run away because her curiosity gets the best of her. And there she comes across another prince, Prince Tristan, and they have a brief encounter towards the end of the book. So, and that ultimately got me to want to continue the series. So in the end, it's a pretty intriguing book. I kind of like this book because it maybe it tests your boundaries a little bit, and it's very, very graphic, but I like that it was really well written. It's kind of written in, I don't want to say old English, but it's kind of written in an old-fashioned kind of way, but the way it's written, it flows very quickly, and the characters are very engaging. I thought the prince was a little spoiled, but he was very commanding, and it intrigued me that he was in love with this legend of Beauty, and he's just trying to make his mother proud. And so I found him interesting, and I found Beauty interesting because in a way she's still trying to understand everything that's going on around her, and I like her rebellious spirit and her curiosity. So her being the female protagonist is very engaging, and I like how she just wants to try to understand her situation better, and she's willing to learn. But as you go into the series, you're trying to wonder if her curiosity may get her in trouble. So, and overall, I thought it was a good read. It has about like 19 chapters in it, but they're split up pretty quickly, and it's pretty well written. And hopefully, if you get a chance, you can find it at Barnes and Noble. I actually have a copy of the originals before they changed it over to that stupid black and white, and they have the white flowers. I actually have an original copy. This is the first book of the painting of the. Let's see if it tells me. I can't remember what the painting is, but I like how the covers actually match how the characters are of that time, because it's kind of like olden times and stuff like that. But I actually like the book a lot, and if you get a chance, you can find it at Barnes & Noble. You can actually find them at Target now, so it's a pretty good read, and if you get a chance, just read it.